The other day, when the BioWare stream released, like many of you, I was very excited to see what would be discussed. After agonizing weeks of near silence, we finally had news. I got home, booted up my computer, and set in to watch it. Unfortunately, because of daytime job schedule and time zone differences, I had to watch a recording, but that was fine. When the video finished, I jumped straight into a game with my regular group, and we spent much of the session discussing the stream. Several hours of gameplay, and almost as much of it was spent in the lobby talking without distraction as there was spent killing Ket. ARs were getting a blanket buff, which is needed. Too many times I've seen players opt to choose an SMG because the damage is comparable while being lighter and thus allowing a build lower reset times on their abilities. While players should be thinking about their builds in such a way, it should not be as easy of a decision simply because the AR has such a low damage output comparatively. Abilities, and more importantly combos, were getting a buff, which is a huge boon to classes that are better suited to abilities as opposed to weapons. But there was something that was really bugging me about it, and at the crux of it all was the difficulty percentages. That chart was wrong. Not because the information was incorrect, I'm sure it was. It was wrong because it shouldn't look like that. 62% of all the games played are on bronze, a quarter on silver, and just an eighth. 13% of all multiplayer games are played on gold. During the session we were playing discussing the stream, one of the other players said that if you just read from forum posts, watch videos, and pay attention to your build, you are already at the top 10% of Mass Effect players worldwide, which BioWare's numbers seem to support this. But there should be more gold players than this. A majority of players, more than half, should be playing on silver, not bronze. And this is including the problems they've had with the balance of the game. If you play the game at least 3 hours a week in a class that you are comfortable with, you should be playing regularly at silver. Bronze should be for the players who might get on and play a game, or two a week at most. I don't know the reason for these numbers. I don't know if these numbers are all time, or daily, or even weekly, but I'm going to guess they're at least daily because that makes the most sense of what they should be tracking. Maybe all of the gold players left and the only ones playing are the people who haven't become so bored and jaded that they've just left. I don't know, but these numbers scare me. The reason why they scare me is because I'm afraid that with the coming patch, that's going to include a buff to almost everything, which honestly is needed, and a nerf to the Ket, that the game will become too easy to play anymore. I play at gold almost exclusively. The only times I don't is when I'm playing Apex missions with somebody on my friends list who's a silver player, or if I'm playing by myself with a new class that I don't know how to play yet. I'm not tooting my own horn here. People, I am a slightly above decent player at best. I main support classes because I know I'm not a good enough player to be the one whose job it is to bring down primary targets. If it wasn't for Clan AOD, I probably wouldn't have made it to playing gold regularly. And even playing at gold now, I rarely feel truly challenged anymore. If I'm playing with a full lobby of AOD, I know that we are going to win the match with a full extraction. And the only time that we might not is if it's Ket, Wave 6, Upload, or Assassination. Going back to what I said earlier about how most players should be playing on silver, why aren't there more players playing at higher difficulties? Well, you see it all over Reddit. What classes are viable at gold? What gun is viable at gold? And these are valid questions because there's a lot of guns that the balancing just kind of sucks for them. But then you get these other ones that it's, this is a really fun class to play, but you really need the Vanquisher to be viable at gold. And I think most of this is horseshit. It's good that players are asking what to do to get to gold, but there are too many people out there saying you need to master the Vanquisher to play at a higher level. And that simply isn't true. People will tell you that the Vanguard is the only class that you could play at gold without a Vanquisher. That's nonsense. My main class is a human adept. People will tell you it's too squishy. It's not. I outfit it with a Charger and a Predator, both of them common weapons. This may change after the patch, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that there are too many people out there saying the game is too hard at higher levels, and this is scaring people away from jumping into a more rewarding experience. This was supposed to be a how to get to gold video, explaining how to build and play a class in a way that gets players into gold, or at least silver. But with those numbers from the stream, I couldn't leave this unsaid. Don't be afraid to play at higher difficulties. You may be surprised at how well you do. Find a group of friends to play with, and if you don't have a group of friends, come find me on Origin, AOD _BanditBlue2D.